You're watching NFL Daily. Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports. And coming up on today's show, I am going to be ranking from 10 all the way down to 1 the top 10 NFL players that have the most to prove at training camp. Don't get me wrong. I like the offseason. I like free agency. I like the draft. But training camp is that first real taste of actual NFL action. And I don't know about y'all, I am stoked for this season. And hopefully you guys are too. So what I want you to do right now, if you're excited for the year, if you are excited to watch your favorite team, strap it on. I'm talking about football gear. Get your head out of the gutter. Then I want you to smash that like button right now. So we will work our way from 10 down to 1. And coming at here on number 10 on my list of the players that have the most to prove, it's Jaguars running back Travis Etienne. He was selected number 25 overall in the 2021 draft, and I was sitting here saying, man, Etienne, Trevor Lawrence down there in Jacksonville, there's going to be some good chemistry. Unfortunately for him, he missed his entire rookie season, ended up getting injured. And then another running back who has stepped up in the past for Jacksonville, James Robinson, started to look pretty good. Unfortunately for him, he ended up tearing his Achilles. Luckily, though, he's not on the PUP list. So what you're going to see is a good two-way running back battle between Etienne and James Robinson. For me, though, I have my eyes on the Clemson running back because when you look at some of these numbers from his career, they are eye-popping to say the least. 686 carries, 4,952 rushing yards, decent 7.2 yards per carry and 70 touchdowns. I'm a big fan of Etienne's overall ability, and I can't wait to see what he does at training camp. Let's go to number 9 on my list here. This might be a little bit of a curveball for some people, but this might be shocking to others. The media is going to cover the Dallas Cowboys, so I have my eyes on James Washington because I believe he has a lot to prove. Dallas traded away wide receiver Amari Cooper this offseason. Michael Gallup right now was on the PUP list. And yes, Dak Prescott has CeeDee Lamb. But Washington, since he came out of Oklahoma State, drafted in round 2, just did not quite fit all that well in Pittsburgh. And there was a lot of rumors last offseason about him just wanting out, a lot of drama. Washington has a realistic chance to really cement himself as the wide receiver 2 there in Dallas, especially if Michael Gallup is dealing with some of those injury issues. Let's now go to Las Vegas. We're going to look at Alex Leatherwood, the right tackle offensive guard for the Silver and Black. He was selected 17th overall in the 2021 NFL Draft. Here's the issue. He wasn't only bad last season, he was one of the worst offensive linemen according to PFF this offseason. He's been working predominantly with the second team, and the Raiders just put the pads on Wednesday, but for that first week during training camp, Leatherwood was working behind Brandon Parker. For those of you that don't know a lot about Brandon Parker, there's a reason. He's really not all that good. So there's a legitimate chance a player who was drafted in the first round might not get the start, whether that be right guard, whether that be left guard, right tackle. You're drafted in round 1 to play. You're already might be on the way out. So for Leatherwood, he really needs to show up here and show Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler that he can play, because unfortunately he was unable to do that last season. I mean, look at these PFF grades. In 1,104 snaps, overall grade of 45.0. Imagine putting that on your fridge. Imagine putting a 29.0 pass blocking grade on your fridge. Hell, I wouldn't even put that on a microwave. Run blocking grade, 62.1. At the end of the day, Leatherwood needs to get better. Now, if y'all are diehard Raider fans and you want more content from me, I make content all the time over on Local. So here's 2 things that you can do. You can scan that QR code right there or go to the link that you see below, Raidersport.locals.com. And here's some of the content that I've been putting out. Raiders right guard projected starter, Denzel Good. He retired this week, so I projected the offensive line. If you like seeing that type of stuff, if you're like, offensive line play doesn't matter, I'm sorry, but you're wrong on that. Especially for anybody out there that wants Josh Jacobs in a fantasy league, you should definitely check out that video. Let's go back to the quarterback position. We're going to go back to Pittsburgh here, at least kind of. Mitch Trubisky, quarterback for the Steelers, and he was signed this offseason, got a decent contract for a quarterback. Here's the issue, though. Pittsburgh also selected Kenny Pickett, number 20 overall. He was a Pitt quarterback and the only quarterback drafted in the first round. And we were talking about this a little bit in the Chat Sports studios today, but the Pittsburgh fans, They might want Pickett. Hell, he's got the 4th highest selling jerseys, not just in Pittsburgh, but I'm talking about in the entire NFL. This will be Trubisky's 3rd team of his career, and I almost find it funny that he was able to raise his stock not playing in Buffalo, just being a backup because he had a few good preseason games. So let's see how his career numbers end up translating with the Steelers, who have Deonta Johnson. You got Chase Claypool. You got a halfway decent receiver group there. You also got Pat Freiermuth, tight end out of Penn State. 64 touchdowns, 38 interceptions for his career. Mitch Trubisky, though, tall tale task in training camp. We're going to go to the defensive side of the football here, and it's Jeffrey Okudah, cornerback of the Detroit Lions. Now, I was a big fan of him when he was first coming out of Ohio State. I almost said that he was no way this is a bust prospect. Well, I don't know if I got egg in my face or if that's just a big L. So far, this has been a big L for Detroit. When you're taking 3 overall, you're expected to be a all-pro type of player. He struggled as a rookie. Then he tore his Achilles week 1 last season. So now you're in a situation where it's year 3. It's time to put up or shut up. And Okudah has shown at glimpses that athletic ability. The reason why he was taken so high, because he was really talented in college. And yes, sometimes it doesn't always translate. I think it will. I think it's going to be a matter of time. But this is a young man who's going to have a lot of eyes on him. I know I'm going to be looking at him very closely, and he has a lot to prove at training camp. So if y'all want some more free Chat Sports content, you can find it in a few different areas. You can find it on YouTube. Hit that big red button underneath this video that says subscribe, or you can take that link if you are a subscriber, is that what I was going to say? Send it to a friend. If you want to follow us on Rumble, that is another opportunity as well. Luckily for you, that link is down below. I'm also going to put it in the comments and the description of today's video. For some of you who are like, why would I watch you on Rumble if I watch you on YouTube? Cool part about Rumble, you can listen to us like a podcast. So you can take your phone, watch the video, minimize it, put it in your pocket, continue to go on your daily routine, and it's still going to play in the background. And it's ad-free. Also, they're both free. So, seriously, follow us on YouTube and on Rumble. Let's get in now to the top 5 groups here, or at least the top players that have the most to prove at training camp. I'm going to go with Tua Tagovailoa, and a lot of concentration is going to be on him because apparently he's the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. At least that's what Tyreek Hill said. They also hired a brand new head coach in Mike McDaniel. Plus, in terms of just building around your quarterback, you can't put any more excuses out there. We know Joe Burrow is a franchise guy. We know Justin Herbert is a franchise guy. Do we know that about Tua? I'm not 100% sure. You traded for Tyreek Hill. You brought in Teron Armstead. You brought in a few other players on that offensive line. You continue to build his running back room. On top of that, you got Jalen Waddle. You got Mike Gesicki, a very, very talented Dolphins offense. And it all falls on the shoulders of Tua. Does he have strong enough shoulders to throw it to the 50-yard line? I don't know. Does he have strong enough shoulders to carry this team? That, again, remains to be seen. Let's go to another quarterback here who's definitely in a prove-it year. Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones. The Giants have already declined his 5th-year option. The Giants hired Brian Daboll, and I was so happy when New York announced that Daboll was going to be the head coach because, man, I got a lot of family, big-time Giants fans, and I said, the number one guy you want is Daboll because if he can make it work with Josh Allen, I'm not saying Daniel Jones is Josh Allen, but you do have to look at these two people as being very close to that Spider-Man meme where you can tell Jones has got athletic ability. His running ability is there. Yes, he's not quite built like Allen, doesn't have the arm strength of Allen, but the amount of growth that Allen has had since he's come out of Wyoming to where he is now, that's what you're hoping can go here with Daniel Jones. And if it doesn't happen, well, New York, it's not the kindest place in the world. Number 3 on my list here of players with the most to prove at training camp. It just looks weird. I can't even say it right without giggling. Baker Mayfield, quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. So Carolina makes a deal. They've been super aggressive, and Cleveland was more than happy to move on from Mayfield. This was just a bad divorce, as the WNBA would say, and you just move on. Carolina, they played Cleveland week 1. I mean, that is just primetime television. He's going to compete with Sam Darnold to be the starter, and realistically, I could have put Sam Darnold on this list as number 3 for the players with the most to prove. When you look at some of their numbers from last season, Baker was better. 60.5% completion percentage, better than Darnold's 59.9. The yards, advantage Baker, over 3,000. The yards per completion, advantage Baker Mayfield. Touchdowns, advantage Baker. Picks, the exact same, lucky number 13. So with Carolina, a lot of times you hear this saying, if you got two quarterbacks, you got no quarterbacks. Carolina's got like 4 or 5 quarterbacks. I don't know if any of them are all that good. Sorry, P.J. Walker. But who's the better one out of the group here in terms of Baker and Daniel Jones? If you had to pick right now, what quarterback is better this upcoming season? Is it the Giants QB type DJ? Is it the Panthers quarterback type BM? Number 2 on my list here is wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints, Michael Thomas. Some good news. He was able to practice on Wednesday, and the reason why that's good news is because Michael Thomas hasn't played in a game since December 2020. And also, he's been kind of a diva, a little bit of a headache for New Orleans and fantasy football fans out there since signing his mega 5-year, $100 million deal. When you pay a player who's not a quarterback $100 million, you better be out there on the field. The issue is, he hasn't been out there, and even the last time we saw him in 2020, sure, he was battling some injuries from what it sounds like, but 40 catches, 438 yards, no touchdowns is a much bigger difference than the year before where he was Offensive Player of the Year, where he put up 149 grabs, 1,725 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Michael Thomas got his deal because his 196 career receptions in his first 2 seasons. He was unbelievable. Can he continue to get back to that? I don't know. The routes did look good today, though, which made me happy to see that. Let's go to number 1, the player with the most to prove at training camp, 49ers quarterback Trey Lance. When the 49ers traded up to get Lance, I was like, all right, well, I shouldn't say trade up to get Lance. They traded up to number 3. They gave up a boatload of picks, and I was like, whoever this guy is, he's going to be the future there. What's interesting is the 49ers have another good quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, and you can rip on Jimmy G all you want. Believe me, I do it all the time here at Chat Sports. But you have to be able to face the fact. He went to a Super Bowl in 2019, got the team to the Final Four essentially last year, lost a very, very close, heartbreaking game. But Garoppolo was reliable. Lance absolutely is going to have a lot of eyes on him because, let's face it, if they don't make the playoffs, I get it, NFC West is tough. If they don't even make a playoff run, there's going to be a lot of people who are like, oh, man, maybe you should have kept Garoppolo. And I think when you invest as much as they did in the draft, you kind of have to go with Lance. But if you don't think for a second that this guy has the most to prove at training camp, I think you're sleeping on it. So there's a lot of players in the NFL last time I checked, and I did a top 10 list, so there's going to be a few guys out of it. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate that you took time out of your day to watch all the awesome content that we drop here at Chat Sports. But let me know, which NFL player has the most to prove at training camp? I'm going to be looking in the comments. All right, y'all, let's wrap up this video right here. I'm going to go through it real quick. The top 10 players with the most to prove at training camp: Trey Lance, Michael Thomas, Baker Mayfield. Those are your top 3. Daniel Jones, Tua Tagovailoa, that's top 5. Jeff Okudah, Mitch Trubisky, Alex Leatherwood, James Washington, Travis Etienne. Appreciate everyone who tuned in. Enjoy the rest of your day, and if you haven't already, hit that sub button.